That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!
Hey guys, welcome back to Aftermath. This is going to be episode 2. I'm Eric.
And I'm John.
And this time we wanted to talk about something a little bit different. Instead of just talking about one movie, we thought we'd talk about a couple different movies that we've seen this year and
Atrocious.
didn't like so much. So what do you think, John? Let's get right into it.
Well, we just recently watched Total Recall.
Total Recall.
And what a waste of time it was for me.
What a letdown. So you go into this movie, it's called Total Recall. So immediately you think Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mars, Cohagen,
Action.
Action.
Yeah.
You care about what's happening on this planet. You care what's happening to these mutants.
The science fiction element, everything.
Exactly. You go into that movie thinking all this, and then here's what we get: Colin Farrell,
Mopey.
He's sad.
Mopey. He's a little sad.
The whole movie was dark.
Yeah.
It was very dark, as opposed to a very bright and colorful. I thought, anyways.
Yeah, well, it had a wonderful world. I thought, like, here's some good things just to get it out of the way. And I thought the world looked nice. It had this huge backstory, but here's the problem: as good as it looked, just like how good a car looks, it'll run a little slow and get shitty gas mileage. So if you haven't seen it, the whole world has been attacked by bioterrorism, and nobody can go outside a certain area. So it's Britain and Australia are the only living inhabitable places on the Earth. So to interact, we built a tunnel going through the center of the Earth, back and forth to each continent.
Makes sense.
Okay. So definitely after we've been attacked by a giant terrorism, chemically and technologically, what do? We go further. Usually it seems like to me in a scenario like this, if we were ever attacked like this in civilization with the shit, we don't get better with our technology. We kind of go back to earlier roots and live like on the land farming. Like we wouldn't want that again, because the same thing will happen. Like it gets crowded. Things become easily accessible. Easy plots to take over the world. I mean, like, I don't know. And in this one, everything looked like a Rubik's Cube. It was really hard to like distinguish where places went. It was like easier places to hide.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like for the situation that the world was in, it didn't look like a good place I would want to live in.
Yeah, exactly.
As well.
It's just a very weird scenario to be put in, especially when you're thinking of Total Recall. Because again, everybody's thinking Mars. That's exactly what I was thinking. I knew it wasn't going to be in Mars, but that's what you're thinking. And then you get this where there's no mutants.
No, none. But there is a 3-breasted chick.
There is a 3-breasted chick.
For some reason.
Yeah. They decided to shoehorn that in. She's the only mutant on the face of the Earth, and she happens to just have 3 breasts. Yeah. So
it's the future, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
We get some implants.
Exactly. So you come into this new Total Recall, and I just didn't care about anybody in that movie. No. That's what a lot of movies are having problems with lately. To me, is just I don't care about the characters. I don't care about anything that's happening. I just want to see action.
Well, I mean, look who like you got Colin Farrell and Kate Beckinsale living together, having a hard time. They look like Greek gods.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like them.
It's like, oh man, life is so tough, but we'll get through it. But we're GQ models.
I'm gonna go to my 9 to 5, and then I'm gonna work out for the rest of the night.
Exactly. I mean, at least in Total Recall, you had Arnold Schwarzenegger, this mountain of a man, but he was like a miner or something? Like he worked in a quarry.
Yeah.
So he had a reason to be buff.
Yeah, and that was also like in a time when heroes were heroes. They were kind of beyond normal looking Joes. I mean, it was a movie, so
So that Total Recall, really nothing memorable about it. I mean,
actually, yeah, it should have been called the Fall. I mean that thing was called the Fall. This elevator was going back and forth, and it was a huge plot device. And it should have been. I mean, what a great way to be attacked. I mean, people are afraid to get into airplanes these days, and this is 100 years from now when we've already been attacked. But we're going to get on this huge giant shaft that goes straight past the core with hundreds of people on it. I feel a lot safer now.
Yeah, that'll all work out in the end.
Yeah,
I mean, even like one of the parts I was looking forward to most about the movie is I'm a huge Bryan Cranston fan. And I kind of felt like he was phoning it in a little bit. I mean, maybe his character just wasn't very fleshed out. Cohagen wasn't near of a presence at all times like he was in the first one.
Yeah, well, he was one dimensional, and I think we're in a different time. I mean, you could have that back in the '80s, which is like, again, I guess why this year I kind of like Snow White and the Huntsman, and you didn't.
Yeah.
Like it felt like an '80s movie where like a villain's a villain, and it kind of called for that. But in this movie, I was hoping for a little bit more, especially with this being like about twist and like is he dreaming? Is this reality? Is it not? It turns out there's no twist at all.
Yeah, there's no part that leaves you that makes you wonder. Like they definitively tell you, "Hey, this is what happened," and see you later. Just deal with it. Deal with what happened.
And I don't know if you were watching it like this, but what I got out of it was this was almost like a test reel for who could be Wonder Woman, Jessica Biel or Kate Beckinsale. I that's just what I imagine they're both going to go into the audition room with this and like, hey, we were both, we're just going to do this together.
Assuming DC ever decides to make a actual comic book movie.
Well, I think Riffin, the director of Drive, he's got in his hands now, and I don't know.
Well,
It'll be in somebody else's hands next week, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. That'll always be in development hell until we get a good Superman movie, which there's a discussion for another time.
Bring on the reboot.
But, exactly.
Not this one, but I mean, I can't wait for the one after this one.
The reboot after the reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait for it.
Okay, so there's Total Recall, a movie that John and I both did not like very much.
Very meh.
Oh, let's move on to another movie that we disagree a little bit on. That's Snow White and the Huntsman.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I really liked it. It wasn't great or anything. I just really had a good time in it. It felt like an old '80s movie, like Legend or something. Villain was a villain. The heroes were heroes. I mean, I did have some problems with it. Like, if you haven't seen it yet, she meets these creatures in this enchanted forest. After she gets out of this cursed forest, she goes into this magical one, and there's a lot of these creatures there that were the fairies and the deer that had like all the horns and all that stuff. And I was really hoping for in the final battle it'd be like, hey, we gotta go. We need help with this evil queen, and I'll use this plot device that we put in earlier. And it never happened.
Yeah.
I was really hoping for this epic magical battle, and nothing.
Yeah, I may have enjoyed the part with the forest and the magical creatures, and Mario as the lead blind dwarf. Unfortunately, I was asleep by that point. Yes. That movie, oh my god! So you see the trailer for this movie, and you're like, okay, looks pretty cool. It's got Thor. It's got Charlize Theron. She's pretty hot. And it's got Kristen Stewart. That sucks, obviously. Yeah. But then you watch the trailer, and you're like, man, this is pretty cool. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of fights. There's some monsters.
The guy's being broken into millions of shards.
Yeah. And then
cool.
you watch the movie, and there's a fight scene. It's pretty cool. You see Thor drunk beating these guys up, and then you see Kristen Stewart. I guess she's drunk or high or something on mushrooms, walking through the forest for what seemed like 15 hours to me. That's why I fell asleep.
Yeah, I mean
nothing. Like there were so many stretches of nothing happening that it just lost me.
I was kept up in it. I tried to ignore her as much as possible.
That's the problem, though. She was the main character. It's hard to ignore the main character.
But yeah, but I think I was more. I guess what I really liked about it was the world. Like I thought they really made the world real, and they were with the forest and the kingdom and the castle. Like it really felt really nitty and gritty. And
yeah, I mean the sets did look pretty cool most of the time, and the dwarves were done really well. And
yeah.
I liked I don't know, I liked the design of the movie. That was a very well designed movie. But Kristen Stewart, man, she just really killed it for me. Like I don't want to be one of those guys that just jumps on the train of hating an actor, but man, she really deserves the hate she gets for being terrible.
Well, she gets the big. I mean, with the bigger chicks that she gets, she deserves it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like it makes up for where Charlize Theron as the evil queen. Like what a fantastic job at being pure evil.
Not that she didn't do bad in that role, but we were talking about this earlier, and I just felt like her motivations were really weak. I mean, the whole movie, the reason she was so mad the whole time was because she got her heart broken. That's what I gathered from it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she got her. Did she get her heart broken? I thought she was like trying to manipulate the king, anyways. Just to get. She just pretty much wanted to rule the kingdom.
She was
and the land.
She was. I think there was a point where she was like, "I'm gonna hurt you before you hurt me," and she kills him.
Oh.
And yeah, she wanted power, but she wanted power because she didn't want to be heard again, like the way she was
Go.
at one point. Yeah. So that whole aspect of it turned it from her just being evil, wanting to rule everything, into I want to be pretty and I want to be a girl. You know, it's just boring.
Well, it's just, you got to throw something in there, a little motivation, justification for some character to do. But
Yeah.
But again, like that movie wasn't trying to be deep or anything, so that was okay with me. It made up for with what what she did and what she was
Right. Yeah.
everything. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was okay.
I hated it. I thought it was terrible. But there you go. there's Snow White.
Snow White in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Now let's kind of move on to another movie where it's vice versa. I really liked it. John probably thought, what'd you think? It was the worst movie of all time?
Not the worst movie of all time, but mostly the laziest movie of all time and the pointless movie of all time.
We're of course talking about The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes. I don't really want to talk about it. I wish I didn't have to talk about it.
Okay, well let me
But here I am.
let me talk about it first. What I liked about it was that
Good luck.
what I liked about it was it was a Spider-Man movie. I mean, yeah, it was a lot like the first one, and by a lot I mean I'm talking about Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man movie. Not a shot-for-shot remake,
No.
but it was very close, very similar.
Two different tones.
Two very different tones,
And,
but the same overall like structure of the movie was the exact same.
Yeah.
Like the way everything happened was pretty much the exact same. But in exact opposite of John, I actually really liked Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker. I really did.
I don't know who could play Peter Parker, but I know that guy shouldn't have. Well, he's like 28. He's like 30 or
pretty
something
old.
now. He's really old
Definitely,
right now.
definitely didn't look. He definitely doesn't look 30.
But to me, he was basically an Edward Cullen copycat. Like they were like, if we can get the Twilight movies to be Spider-Man movies, this is what we should do. Like he doesn't fit in, right? Peter Parker, he doesn't fit in. He needs to be something else other than a human. Let's make him Spider-Man.
I don't know. I
Keep the
thought
emotion.
I thought he did a good job. I don't know. I guess the thing I liked most was just the Spider-Man parts. I mean, yeah, the Peter Parker moments had their flaws, but when he was in the suit, when he was fighting criminals, when he was fighting the Lizard, the battles, I thought were really cool.
There was a few parts that I liked about it. I did like the Spider-Man stuff where he was. I guess it was that first scene where he caught the first burglar and he was like toying with him and he sneezed and he like hit him in the nuts. Like I thought that was because that's Spider-Man. That's like
Exactly.
Spider-Man from the comics, and that was how Spider-Man should be, which Tobey lacked in the originals.
Yeah, which that's exactly what I thought was missing. Like I loved the first the first two Spider-Man movies just like everybody else did. But I recently watched them again. What I didn't like was that like there were funny parts, but he was never funny when he was Spider-Man. Never cracked the joke. He wasn't. He wasn't wisecracking like Spider-Man actually is.
Well, there was very little of it. There was a lot less of it. I think it was in there, like when he's in the wrestling match. Oh, did your husband make that dress for you? In the wrestling match,
but
he only did it like a few times in a few beats, in few action scenes.
That was actually the only time that he cracked the joke the
Yeah.
entire movie, and he wasn't technically Spider-Man yet. I mean, yeah, he had all the powers. He had
Come on, Gabi.
the beta suit, but yeah,
He got that one.
but yeah.
But those movies were more about, I think, Peter Parker, and they should have been called Spider-Man too, because when he was Spider-Man, he was swinging around, and the action was big and spectacle, and those movies were big and spectacle movies. The first like big superhero movies, other than the original Batman movies. I mean, like Spider-Man 1 and 2 are amazing. They're perfect comic book movies. You got the tone right. I mean, like it's not supposed to be a drama. It's not supposed to be about like how terrible his life is. It's not a tragic hero. I mean, tragic things happen to him, and then he used that to better himself as a character. And same way with like I guess Batman. And Batman comes from a tragic, and his past is very dark. But I mean, he uses it still to do good things. And this new Spider-Man just felt like it was nothing but like, oh, my life sucks. Like I guess that's what teenagers go through these days with the music I hear on the radio. Like it seems like it fits.
Yeah, this movie was definitely made for a younger crowd, but at the end of the day, as a comic book fan, I don't know, I just loved seeing Spider-Man swing around New York and and beating up the lizard. I don't know. I had a lot of fun with that. And yeah, you're right. There were flaws, but
was it needed? Was this movie needed?
was it needed? No. It was Sony's. We don't want to lose the Spider-Man rights. Let's make a movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's
Yeah.
very obvious. Was it needed? No.
And again,
were we going to
lazy-
get it regardless? Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's unfortunate. That's the way that the movie business works right now. But that's what we get.
Mark Webb.
Mark. That's
That guy
pretty awesome.
sounds like he knows his material.
Yeah. Well, he's got Webb right in
I'm
his
sure.
name. Spider-Man has webs,
A
so
piece of-
that's why they chose him.
Oh my god.
So there's
Here
there's
you go,
Spider-Man.
internet.
Yeah, there it is. So yeah, that's Spider-Man. I loved it. John hated it. So now let's swing back around full circle to a movie that is universally hated by, I'm pretty sure, everyone on the face of the planet. Movie that got 98% of what it tried to do wrong.
Mm-hmm. Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
Abraham Stinkin' Vampire Hunter. We watched this movie with how many people were there? 10 people, maybe
yeah, it was a
around
small
10
group-
people.
small
Every
group.
single person at the theater hated it universally.
I was I kept moving in my seat because I was so uncomfortable
Yeah.
watching it. I couldn't stop.
Well, okay, let me just start with saying what I did like about the movie.
What'd you do?
I did like the cast. I liked the people that played the characters. The dude that played Abraham Lincoln.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, I thought he did. Yeah, exactly. I thought he did a really good
I
job
was like a young Liam
with
Neeson.
what he had. Yeah, he did.
For not knowing about who he was, I've never seen this guy in any movie before. I thought he was the only thing good about this movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that already. That's done.
I don't know his name. I don't remember his name. But the black guy, I thought he was pretty good too. Like the sidekick guy.
Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, he's up for the Falcon.
Hawkman.
Hawkman.
Yeah.
Playing the Hawkman.
Yeah.
Coming up.
He's coming up. He's going to be the next big thing in the comic book scene, as you could say. But yeah, I thought that the cast for the most part was pretty good. Every other aspect of that movie was terrible.
Terrible.
The CG. There's a scene where they're like Abraham Lincoln's fighting a vampire on the back of this like stampeding horse, like stampede.
It went on for miles.
It was
You can't. Nothing but horses fill the frame.
yeah. There is you see nothing but horses and Abraham Lincoln, a
They're wrong.
CG Abraham Lincoln and a CG vampire guy just jumping between the two.
Yeah, this could have been a great movie. I mean, like, what a unique idea. I mean,
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
I thought it was a funny aspect. I
But
mean,
like who doesn't want one of the like arguably greatest presidents of our time ever to also be a vampire hunter? Like,
yeah.
how cool is that?
It's so absurd. It sounds great.
Yeah.
And that's what I was hoping for. And even if it was a little cheesy, I was gonna enjoy it. But it wasn't that. It was beyond that. It was technical, and it was almost like a cheap-handed a sci-fi movie.
It was-
like, I'm sure the sci-fi channel version of this is better.
Yeah.
Like, how many things can you get wrong? I mean, there's actually a shot that really stuck out to me the most. It was a shot reverse shot where somebody's talking and it's like an over shoulder, and then it cuts back to the other person over the shoulder, and the color actually changed. There was an actual color temperature change in the whole scene, and it's like, who did this? Was there two people editing and they just put it together and there was no like color person? What happened?
Somebody went to coffee break on that one.
Somebody probably fell asleep while working, and it was just like, I'm done. Here it is.
Yeah.
Here's the file.
Play it. Just put it in the theaters like it is.
And I couldn't believe how lazy that. I mean, this is a multi-million-dollar movie, and I guess this is why I feel comfortable bashing pieces of art like this. When you spend millions of dollars and time and people's time and money and talent, and you put out a product like this, it really pisses me off. And also, like, we as viewers, we spend money to come see this stuff, and we also waste our time. And this is the one I actually get mad. Like, I got mad watching it.
Needless
And only
to say,
very few movies have done that to me. Like, maybe one or two others, but this movie, I really had high hopes for it.
Yeah.
What a downer.
Needless to say, a lot of wasted resources and a lot of wasted everything on this movie. I mean, I would be hard pressed if you were to tell me that I'm going to see a worse movie this year. I really would.
Which is why we're making this kind of collaborative list already.
Exactly.
How worse can it get this year?
Yeah, it can't get much worse. We got a few new movies coming up that look really good. I know one of John's upcoming favorite movies is Red Dawn. We were talking about that. New trailer for that just came out.
God. Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. Again, we're going to be opposites on this too, because I thought the trailer looked pretty cool. I thought it looked like it's going to be a lot of fun.
You know, this movie would work really great if we were like in the Cold War, like if we were in some type of a state like that with whatever Asian countries attacking us in the film. Or,
Yeah.
But there's no point. Again, no point. This is rehash, and nobody just pointless. I don't know. I can't. I'm speechless.
It's a never-ending cycle.
It looks terrible. Stay at home and play a game that like this. I mean, like, how many video games are like this now?
Yeah.
There's one that comes out every year.
Stay home and play Batman Arkham City.
Yeah, do that.
You'll talk about
that's
a perfect
gosh.
interpretation of another medium into another medium is that game.
Probably the best interpretation of Batman, other than the animated
by
series.
By far the best interpretation of him.
I mean, what?
That could be another discussion in its own time, though.
But we talk about movies,
We talk about movies here.
not games.
Now, I think we've covered it all. So Abraham Lincoln, worst movie of the year.
Right, that's what we think.
That's
I
what we
mean,
think.
comment us. Tell us what you think was the worst movie.
I want to hear what
tell
you
us
guys
why.
thought. Yeah, if you guys completely disagree with us, I want to hear it. I want you guys to tell us.
Because I want to be. I mean, I might decide to go back, and if you give me a good reason to, I'll watch it again. But other than that, I'm not going to.
I'm not going to watch Abraham Lincoln again.
I'm going to ignore it like a dog does a child.
If you can convince me to watch Abraham Lincoln again and try to change my mind, I'll hand you $10.
Whew.
That's
That's
a claim.
big money.
That's a claim. You can't do it. Even for free money, you can't do it. You can't look me straight in the face and tell me there was something just great about that movie.
You better have $10 ready.
I've got it. I've got it ready right now. So that's gonna be the end of episode 2. Like I said, comment. Let us know what you thought, and just thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks, guys.